Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Now it has been a long time since I've made a video, so if you don't know who I am, then that's fine. It's been roughly 4 months. Well, it has been 4 months according to this channel, but honestly, I haven't made a video where it's about a topic I care about in quite a long time, where I really sit back and discuss something that interests me. Because frankly, I get bored by the sound of my own voice very easily, so I mostly just make weird content. But today we're actually going to be doing something a little less silly. I'm going to be ranking every film in the Conjuring franchise. Now, why am I doing this? For what reason? Nobody cares about my ranking of the Conjuring universe. I mean, no one's going to watch that. And that's fine. Okay, so that's what we're going to be doing today. I'm going to be ranking all of my, uh, all the horror films in the Conjuring universe. Now, I haven't seen all of them, but I have seen all of them. So today we're going to be ranking them from S tier to F tier. So sit back, relax, get in the spooky mood, just like me as we head towards Halloween, and prepare for my ranking of the Conjuring films. Or don't. I don't. You do what you want. You know what I mean? I mean, there's so much content out there, but these films are great. What is happening with this light? That's crazy. Look. Ooh, I have light powers. I don't know how to fix that. If you know in the comments, it's probably because I'm sat next to this giant window and it's making the light funky, but I kind of like it. It's kind of a unique vibe, so I'm going to keep it. So anyway, let's jump into the list. So let's get started then. I've been talking for far too long, and now I'm going to continue talking. So let's do that. 3, 2, 1. Welcome back. I'd say welcome back because this took me forever, but as you can see here, I have all of the films in the Conjuring universe. So, for full transparency, I don't know the order of these when it comes to like the Conjuring lore. So I'm just gonna kind of drop them, talk about them, and place them with no real rhyme or reason. So if you want a lore deep dive, I can give that to you now. So basically, Big Bad Doll, then they kill the nun, and then big explosions happen, and then Nicolas Cage is Dracula. So that's basically it. So let's start with Annabelle because that's the film that started it all. Now, Annabelle is not the most popular in the franchise. A lot of people don't like it. I personally haven't seen it. So I'm going to put that over here in the white section because I can't review it. But if we're going purely off the trailer for Annabelle, then this film is really scary because the trailer scared me when I watched it as I was like 9 years old. So I'm going to put Annabelle in B for Blammo. That was a scary trailer. Yeah, so that's where that's going. Next up, we will go to now Annabelle 2 is a film that truly it's remarkable. Annabelle 2 is David F. Sandberg, who did Lights Out. I don't know why it's reversed the picture, but I'll deal with it. Now, Annabelle 2 was a great film. I remember watching it in the cinema, and I was very, very pleasantly surprised by it because obviously the first one wasn't well received, but this one was. I remember. I remember very little about it except that it was quite scary. So I'm going to put this. Actually, I'm going to change it. So Annabelle 2 will go in B because I've actually seen it, and Annabelle can go in D because I haven't seen it, and I like to follow what other people think. Up next, we've got Annabelle Comes Home. This poster is legitimately terrifying. The film Annabelle Comes Home is more of like a goof, I'd say. It's like you go in through a haunted house and it's just kind of jump scares and jump scares and jump scares. I personally don't mind that as much. I know I made fun of it years ago in a sketch that this film was just jump scares, but as a horror fan, it is pretty entertaining, especially as other characters from the cupboard start coming out and it gets a bit spookier. It is like a fun house ride film, so that's going to go in B for sure. That goes in B because I greatly enjoyed that one. Now let's go to The Conjuring. The first Conjuring film is great, and it still holds up to this day. Um, it doesn't scare me as much anymore because I've seen hundreds of horror films. So I know the things it does. I've seen them before now a million times. But there is something to be said about how The Conjuring, kind of like Paranormal Activity, changed the game. And it kind of set up this new tone that horror films can really, really be truly terrifying. They can get inside your head. They can also be really weird, and it's not all about demons ripping your throat out. Sometimes it's just a demon clapping its hands in the dark, or a demon sitting on top of a wardrobe to watch you sleep. Stuff like that. The Conjuring does that really well, and I'm going to put this in A tier because it is excellent. It still holds up. I watch it every Halloween. Now, let's do The Conjuring 2. The Conjuring 2 is one of the best films in the Conjuring franchise, if not the best from me. And I love this film. I watch it every Halloween. Every single Halloween, I watch this one. I remember watching it with my friend, and we were both just hammered. Um, Conjuring 2, we watched it while we were drunk, and there was a bit where this gas line thing blows up and the steam goes in Patrick Wilson's face. And my friend was like offering Patrick Wilson her glasses. It was really funny. It's also the loudest I've ever screamed in a movie because I was both drunk and the jump scare was really good. So The Conjuring 2 can go in S tier because it is by far the best one so far, anyway. For scares, for creativity with like the crooked man, like all of that. They introduced a nun, and the nun in The Conjuring 2 is scarier than the nun in the Nun film. So that's good. That's a good thing. But yeah, I love The Conjuring 2. I love the crooked man. I love all the stuff with like the spookiness. I don't script these videos, but it does a really good job of telling a great story, making you genuinely concerned that they might kill the main characters constantly because the stakes are so high constantly. It's an excellent film. Anyway, The Conjuring 3 is one of the more underrated ones. I don't hear a lot of people talking about The Conjuring 3 anymore since it came out. It kind of seems like it was forgotten. And I say that because I've mostly forgotten what happened in it. However, when I watched The Conjuring 3, I loved it. I loved it. I remember thinking it was really scary, and it's kind of expands the world of The Conjuring in a way. This guy kills his whole family, and then because he's possessed and stuff, and he claims that that's why he did it, or maybe that's the second one. Anyway, The Conjuring 3 is pretty freaky to my memory. It doesn't really pull any punches. It's pretty dark. What it does with like the child actors is pretty brave. It kind of puts them through the ringer, which all of these films do. Really, they're not afraid to like traumatize child actors. So I'm going to put The Conjuring 3 in B purely because I can't remember it, but I do remember enjoying it. But because I don't remember it, I can't really put it any higher than that. The first non film, look at that face. The Nun is a film. Put that in F. Um, no, I will talk about it. The Nun is one of those where I only recently watched it for the first time because I heard just how bad it really was. And in all fairness, there are moments in it that show promise and show what the film could have been, but it's just not scary at all, really. It's more just really boring. It's like extended. long, drawn out exposition moments. And the jump scares are really predictable. Like you could literally go three, two, one, jump
Jump
scare, and it
scare.
would happen. I thought that often. I also had a lovely nap during this film, and because the nap I had during this film was so nice, I'm going to move it up to E tier, which is E for E. That was a nice nap. The Nun 2. I have not seen The Nun 2, but I'm very, very, very tempted, and I might make a follow up video on it. So I'm going to put it in F for follow up. I haven't seen it, so I doubt that will probably change. I feel bad now. I just had to do the follow up joke. It wasn't very funny. I'm going to put it in C for can't wait to see it. Right, last one. The Curse of La Llorona. The Curse of her name is. I have seen this one. I did watch it, but I seriously couldn't tell you what happened in it. The only bit I remember is the bit in the bath because it's in the trailer. So that's going to go in F for freaking forgot it. F for forgotten. There we go. So yeah, that's my tiered ranking. Next up, we've got Ouija Origin of Evil. Now, this isn't technically in the Conjuring franchise, but it is evidence that horror sequels are having a kind of a strange ripple effect that's going on, which is why I'm so excited to see The Nun 2. Because Ouija Origin of Evil is one of the best horror films I've ever seen in my life. It's Mike Flanagan, so it's terrifying. It's truly horrific and brilliantly made. However, the first Ouija film is F. That's an F tier film. It's not scary. It's boring. The jump scares are all predictable. There's absolutely nothing in it that is even remotely worth putting it any higher on this list. And what's worse is I forgot it. And apart from unlike The Conjuring 3, where I remember it made me feel great, I have no feelings related to the first Ouija movie. But it's interesting how Ouija 2 was really great, but Ouija 1 was crap. And it's interesting that Annabelle 1 was bad, but Annabelle 2 was great, and Annabelle 3 was really fun. And now I've heard that The Nun 2 is really highly rated. So I don't know what this weird thing is where all these horror films are really bad at first, but then they release like an amazing follow up. It's a very strange system. Next up, Killer Sofa. Now, this is another film that isn't in the Conjuring universe, which is a tragedy because I think the Warrens facing off against a big leather couch is a really good idea, and they really should consider it. Killer Sofa is a strange one because it's really, really boring. Like if you tried to watch Killer Sofa, I did, and it's really dull. And then when the sofa doesn't even become a killer sofa until like the last act, and by then you've fallen asleep, so you don't care. Right. So we're nearing the end of this list. Killer Sofa is not very good, but the Babadook is. The Babadook, I still maintain, has one of the scariest jump scares of all time. It's not even a jump scare, it's the bit on the news. If you've seen the Babadook, you know what I mean. It's just this really unsettling moment. So I'm going to put this in S tier, even though it's not in the Conjuring universe. It's still pretty great. Now to bring things even more recent, we have Talk to Me. First of all, love this poster. Found it today. Hadn't seen it before. Talk to Me is probably one of my favorite films of this year, and probably one of my favorite horror films ever made. What Talk to Me does really well is it takes your expectations and just completely doesn't go with them at all in a really clever way. It's also really freaking scary. It's really scary. So if you're in the mood for a spook, Talk to Me goes in S tier. Okay, so that's it. That is my tiered ranking of the Conjuring films and a few other horror films just thrown in for the laugh. Um, Meow. I saw cats in the cinema, and there were like 4 different families who'd all brought their kids. Every single one of those families, the children just started screaming in fear. Screaming. I think Cats may be the best horror film ever made. No, I'm just kidding. That's going in F tier. Thanks for watching.